SEC allegedly and reportedly, so I'm going to say allegedly, is out there demanding more money, that being Nico Iamaleava from Tennessee. I feel like just a year ago in an offseason, I was having people on my show during the day. We did some SEC stuff. And I came out here and said that the report that came out about Nico Iamaleava was that you had a booster from Tennessee that flew to California to see Nico, got him in a private jet, flew him back to Tennessee. This was all while he was in high school, by the way. They came up to a deal where he would do things for NIL, or allegedly he would do things for his name, image, and likeness. And then he would go to Tennessee for that deal. And so signing day came and went, and Nico Iamaleava signed with the University of Tennessee, even though the NCAA went after Tennessee and say, hey, I don't think that name, image, and likeness is a part of going and getting a private jet and flying it from California to Tennessee and getting a kid and doing a deal with him. That's not necessarily what name, image, and likeness is supposed to be. So then Tennessee sues the outright dog manure out of the NCAA. And by the way, they won because the NCAA has no real legal ground because they don't have a collective bargaining agreement. So Tennessee wins the case and the NCAA backs off. And as soon as that case is over, you see a fall and a spring that's absolutely chaotic. Right after that, 4 defensive linemen went into the transfer portal, and Demonic Williams went to Oklahoma, which did start the chain event, I guess you could say, was Nico Iamaleava. But Demonic Williams allegedly and reportedly goes to the University of Oklahoma last year when he signs, allegedly, a $1 million deal. So then you go through all of the chaos that go, by the way, not the only one. C.J. West went to Indiana. I forget who went to Miami. Texas got Ethan Burke. It was absolutely just really crazy when it came to how that went down. You transfer, you go through the season. Season's chaotic as hell in the first 12-team playoff. And as soon as we get out of the season, some crazy things happen for sure with recruiting and the portal and everything like that. But then you get back to April. You get back to spring football. And all of a sudden, Nico Iamaleava's name is back in the media, this time for, I'm sure, something that maybe he did not want to slip out and what he wanted to be behind closed doors. Today, Nico Iamaleava, per Pete Nakos of On 3, is in active contract negotiations ahead of the 2025 season. It is unclear if the negotiations will impact whether he enters the transfer portal or not. Nevertheless, we are live, by the way, and we are here. Nico Iamaleava has all the leverage at this current moment. He knows he has all the leverage because, guys, what does Tennessee do if he goes in the portal? What do they do? Then that mean that they would have to tamper, or they're going to have to do something very special at quarterback because he might be their best option. Don't get it twisted that Nico Iamaleava has all of the leverage here, because I don't think that Tennessee wants to have a down season. I think that they want to replicate what they did a year ago by going to the 12-team playoff. Even though he has the leverage, we talked about this in season when we were doing some SEC clips that we'll start picking back up. We kind of gave that a shot last offseason. We'll do that again come football season. You do that, okay? You go through a season with Nico Iamaleava, and he's not great. Guys, he has some really bad games. Now, his wide receiver core did lead the SEC in drops, and for that, you got to give it to him. Maybe he was a little skittish to throw because of the simple nature that his wide receivers couldn't get open, number one, and when he did deliver him the football, they couldn't catch it. I'm not 1,000% sure that it was all their fault. Nico did not help them at all, regardless of the point. You get into the Ohio State game, and the young man runs the football the way that he did, and somewhat in the first half, kept it, close-ish against Ohio State, and you saw some of the talent that he has at running the football. You see the upside with a kid like Nico Iamaleava. But, man, it does rub me the wrong way that a kid in spring, when he knows the portal is approaching, portal's here pretty much in the spring period, and you want to renegotiate. See, Nico sent waves through college football when his court case went through and he won. Nico is now setting a precedent yet again this offseason by allegedly going through negotiations with his team because he knows that they don't really have any other choice but to negotiate with him. Again, allegedly. Guys, this kid single-handedly, whether you like it or not, it seems to me that the way that, and I'll get to what I think in a minute, but he is changing it whether you like it or not. Other kids will follow his path. They will follow his path. Because you know what? If I'm a big-time player, why wouldn't I renegotiate in the spring? Why wouldn't I put your feet to the fire? If I put your feet to the fire and I'm a big-time player in a big-time position, you don't really have a choice but to negotiate with me, especially at quarterback. Now, I am not 1,000% sold that Nico Iamaleava garnered the $2 million that he allegedly and reportedly got when he came into Tennessee. But do you remember a year ago? A year ago, I literally came out here and was screaming from the rafters that if you want college football to have some form of guideline, the Tennessee case, the conference commissioners, the people behind it, and college football fans should have all rallied behind the NCAA for one time, or any governing body in college athletics, whether it be the conferences or whether it be the NCAA. Now, you don't like the NCAA. I don't like the NCAA. No one likes the NCAA. But the truth is that kid would send wavelengths into college football that would set a new precedent. He's doing it again. The entire college football world should have been behind the NCAA and say to themselves, hey, listen. A booster flying a private jet to California, to Tennessee, to get a kid is not NIL. It isn't. At that given moment, the conference commissioners should have struck. Greg Sankey didn't say a damn word. He was silent during the entire thing because he couldn't come down on Tennessee because Tennessee is a part of his conference. But he's also out there trying to regulate NIL and make the game better. I don't know if Greg Sankey had the leadership that he says that he has or that we allegedly give him to go out there and say, listen, all right, this case is going to the court system. If this goes through and the NCAA wins this case, we can stop from boosters going and just doing whatever they wanted. We could have had a legal document in place. Didn't happen. This kid's setting another precedent. Now, all of this is alleged. Blake, this has nothing to do with LSU. Nothing to do with LSU. But then again, it does. Because the negotiations that other players will go through now because of this precedent is going to be something that will send another wavelength. It will send another wavelength through college football based off of what he did. This is insane. I don't think it's great for the game that this kid keeps doing what he's doing. And there was another report that did come out that it said that he loves Josh Heupel and he loves the University of Tennessee. I don't think Pete Nakos runs that story without Shannon Terry, without the people around him. I don't think that story gets broken by On3 if they're not 1,000% sure that they're in contract negotiations. This sport giveth, this sport taketh away. But I'm just going to tell you this. This house settlement case is about to go through, hopefully within the next week. When that goes through, I cherish the day that we can have some form of regulation. I love NIL. I love that players get paid. The question for me has never been, should players in college get paid? I've always stood behind the players about getting paid, and I still do. This is not what any of us signed up for. None of us. I think that they should have gotten that TV revenue money. We've talked about all of this. We've talked about all of it. Saying, hey, we don't agree with this now, and it never mattered. What a hell of a day in college football. Nevertheless, we're live. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. If you're on YouTube, Facebook, or wherever you listen to podcasts, do us a favor. Hit the like and share. I hate where this Nico thing's going. If we were going to go on another rant, look, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the Saints. Every time I hear Shedeur Sanders as a top 10 pick, every time I hear Shedeur Sanders as the number overall pick, 9 overall pick to the Saints, it does make me question what they're really trying to do. Guys, a year ago, it's so funny. A year ago, I had a video that went mini viral in me saying that there's no chance in hell that I would take Caleb Williams over Jaden Daniels. You know what the funny part about that is? The funny part about that is I feel like I was justified in that take, even though I took a lot of heat from a lot of people. And somebody commented on it literally this week, which made me think of it. Like, damn, you were right. You're dang right we were right. In reference to Shedeur Sanders, I don't think that I have seen the leadership skills that can translate to an NFL team at that position. It reminds me of Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams had the same antics, the same problems. You cannot be a quarterback and have those kinds of antics. Want to play receiver and have those antics? Sure. Guys, at that position, it ain't going to work. You're not going to be a leader of men when you're painting your fingernails. I'm sorry. You won't. That is a truth. In this sport, that is a fact. Whether I like it or even if my values disagreed with that notion, which they don't, but even if they did, I remember a video of Shedeur Sanders walking out there and saying his whole offensive line stunk and they couldn't block for him. You do that in the NFL and see what happens. You're going to get your ass whooped. You're a grown man now. You ain't around daddy to save you. I mean, it's a fact. Guys, the ranked opponents and non-ranked opponents, the biggest games that Shedeur Sanders played this year, Nebraska, he was 23 of 38, 244, an interception that lost the game, and a touchdown. BYU, the only real ranked team that they played all year, BYU, horrible team. But they were ranked because they kept winning. He went 16 of 23 for 208, two interceptions, and 2 touchdowns. USC, when Alex Grinch was at USC, he had a great game. Everybody had a great game against Alex Grinch. That was his best game. Guys, against Kansas, he throws for 266. Very efficient in that game, but his team lost to a team that they had no business losing to. And he had the number 1 player in the country, and that being Travis Hunter. If anybody else did some of the things that Shedeur Sanders did, anybody, they would be ostracized. They call him the Johnny Manziel effect. His personality is not that of a quarterback. Well, you're doing that to Shedeur Sanders. Why? Saints need a hit on their first pick. If Shedeur Sanders is there in the second round, take him. Top 10 pick at number 9, you have lost your damn mind. You have lost your godforsaken mind. There's no way I'm taking Shedeur Sanders at number 9. All right. Jesse Poe says, what's up, Blake? New listener out of Mandeville, Louisiana. Black Cat, got it. Bad luck. But Mandeville, not too far from us. Good to have you in here. Paul's up says, Shedeur is the pick that gets entire managements fired. Him and an early release plus blackballed. I don't know if he's a leader. Blank Face on YouTube says, it's ridiculous no one at the top had any balls to put some simple guidelines in place. Of course, it was going to get out of hand. Blank. To the person, I'm using your name. To the commenter here. Brother, we have multiple shows. Please, if you want me to send you the links of me coming out here and saying that Nico Iamaleava is setting a new precedent. This is going to be bad for the sport. We need a rally behind the NCAA behind this. Y'all, brother, we have them. Nobody had the leadership to want to stand up for it. I called it out on here. I called it out on Rufino and Joe show. And I was telling these conference commissioners to back the NCAA for once. Sorry, it's got to be Tennessee, Greg Sankey. I apologize. But you keep every SEC media days, Greg Sankey runs out to the podium, which is his right, and I overall think he's been a good commissioner, really damn good commissioner. He runs his ass up to the podium, and he says, we're on the preface of doing something fantastic and getting these regulations and, getting players paid. Okay, you had an ultimate chance. You blew it. Everybody blew it. It's not just on him. You could have used this as a special case and said, listen, let's get a federal mandate that a collective bargaining agreement is here. They could have done it. You know how I know? Because Judge Claudia Wilkin, a federal judge, literally told the NCAA that the one thing that they forgot to bring to her in this House settlement case that would change college athletics and put guidelines in place, the first thing out of her mouth was, I am surprised that y'all didn't come to me with a combined collective bargaining agreement so that we could get this all settled. And that every university in athletics has to go based off this collective bargaining agreement. And they blew it. They flat out blew it. If you want me to go back through the shows, you want to see the old ones, telling you about it. I promise you. I screamed from the bleachers. Get behind them. Blake, you're overreacting. It doesn't matter. Now it matters. And I'm warning you again. Here's the warning. The warning again is that Nico Iamaleava did it again. He did it again. He's setting a new precedent that will hurt your team. Because kids see that and be like, you know what? That shit ain't that ain't a bad idea, Nico. Be truthful. If my son was in that situation and he said, listen, these other teams around here, there's other teams across the country that are hitting me up. They're offering me $3 million a year. I mean, I don't want to leave Tennessee, but at the same exact time, they are offering me $3 million. What do I do? What do I do? Guys, the problem with it is that if it was your child, you'd probably listen. Because I know sure and damn hell I would. Anyone who thinks that they wouldn't is crazy. Todd Davis says, Shedeur does not look like a leader. I hope the Saints don't pick him. Well, Todd, I don't mean this in a wrong way. I don't know if I'd say he looks like a leader. What I'd say is that his actions have not shown that he can be a leader. That's what I think. Calling out your entire offensive line, right? Like, I mean, ludicrous, man. Absolutely ludicrous. Like, where are we in this? Anyway, all right. We got a lot to get to. Spring practice update. We'll talk about what happened at practice today, some things that we saw, didn't see. We're going to wrap up some spring stuff that we hit. So in the next 25, 45, 30 minutes, whatever it is, however long we go here, we'll talk about that practice report, but I want to get to biggest winners this spring. Players that have been the biggest winners for me so far this spring. So we'll get to that as well. Everybody do us a favor. We got to get to a break here. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share to all those groups. If you are on Facebook and to all those social media pages, you're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. Let's talk about our good friends over at MyBookie. That's mybookie.ag, where the action happens. Guys, the Masters is back. Round 2 is tomorrow, and there's money to be made. Golf's most iconic tournament tees off this week and already has. MyBookie is the ultimate spot to cash in on every swing, upset, and Sunday charge. Outrights, matchups, live betting, you know it, they got it. Long shot bombs, MyBookie, money back. They have everything that you need. If you're new to MyBookie, I've got something that is good for you. Deposit any amount from $50 up to $2,000 and get half matched instantly if you use the promo code MM50. MM50. No waiting, and you don't need to bet to receive it. Just bonus cash right away. UFC 314, you can bet on that as well. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only at MyBookie. Let me get to a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk LSU football next. Stay with us. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Foss and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Foss has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. I see we're having some technical difficulties again tonight. Because of course we are. Alexander Taylor says, do you believe in the Jonathan Giles number 7 curse? No player has finished a season with number 7 since Stevens. Should we stop that tradition? First off, thank you for the super chat. I greatly appreciate that. Do I think we should stop the tradition? No. I think you should give it to your best player. And if you don't have a best player that year, I mean, if you do the tradition, then you got to give it out to somebody, because then in the beginning of the season, if you don't give it out, then you're just telling your team, hey, we don't really think that there's anybody good enough. I don't think you give another one unless you give it to somebody on offense. And, Harold Perkins comes back and wears it. We'll see. I understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I don't think I don't think Jonathan Giles, for what it's worth, he's not the curse. You just had some bad luck in some instances. Maybe give it to a DB that comes in from Louisiana that's highly recruited. Like, say you go flip Blaine Bradford and put him in number 7. I don't know. What do I know? I guess I'm absolutely stupid. But what do I know? All right, let's get to this. So LSU was back out of practice today. I wanted to say the last practice before the spring game, but that would have indicated that there weren't more practices. So in case you forget really quickly, there will be 2 more practices after the spring game on Saturday. So not technically the last practice. We will not be here. We'll have some recorded stuff for you, some recorded shows, whatever, what have you. And for next week, we won't be live until Friday for the post game. But we might have something for after the game. I'm still talking to Carter about it. Last practice before the spring game, when things for LSU football this spring wrap up. Let's get to it today. I thought there was tons of technique work. I saw BK and it talked to some people around, like, hey, what was he saying over there to you? Feels like, coming down to the last part of this, Brian Kelly has been telling his team, like, hey, be technical. Be very technical. Technical. He goes to press conferences all the time and says technical and tactical. That's the big verbiage that he likes to use. In that technical work, he's going to each position group during the individual drill saying technique, technical, technique. That's exactly what spring's for. They spent the whole day doing it. Pad work, tackling drills, and you need to be at the best of that because, look, man, if we're just being honest, some of the fundamental stuff you have not been able to be well at, like just open field tackling, for one. For getting off of blocks or sustaining blocks. Like, those have been some issues that you've had. And today was a massive focus on that, for sure. But I do like that Brian Kelly is walking around saying technique and tactical. It just puts an emphasis when your head coach is going around doing that. I like seeing it. Look, there is something that I think is starting to become a storyline here that I want to address. DJ Chester is still at center. Brian Kelly told Wilson Alexander that DJ will move to a guard and that Braylon Moore would stay at center. It does not seem as if that completely has gone through this spring. At least they haven't shown it. I would say let's wait until August for that to be a thing here, because I do believe that eventually that one might happen. I don't think Brian Kelly says that without having the intention. If it doesn't happen, then we start getting an answer about Braylon Moore and what they think of DJ Chester. Because if you don't move DJ Chester, that fully believes and fully means that either, number one, he's beating out Braylon Moore, or number two, he just developed so much more. He was a top 50 player. And look, man, he just had a bad year one as a starter. There's nothing really wrong with that. But that battle has definitely taken place. What I would like to point out, and if you're on the forum, our forum is our message board, things that we put that, like, I hear things. And look, I'm not gonna sugarcoat things with you. If things aren't going on and there's propaganda around, I'm not going to be in there posting about propaganda. We need to be better at putting other stuff in there, and we will do that. But I will say, I put something in there today about Braylon Moore. I will tell you the report here. The report is simple. Look, he's playing and going through spring with a modified air cast. Saw it today on his right ankle. He has been battling that right ankle. And in battling that right ankle, today he did have on the air cast. I started asking questions about it, and briefly, this is what I was told. What I was told is that most guys in spring, with the injury that he had sustained, people would be out. I was also told that he had told staff and others that he's trying to win a position battle here and he doesn't want to miss anything. If that is the case, if that is the truth, then good on him, right? Good on Braylon Moore for doing that. Good on him for wanting to battle in this situation. I understand some of the questions that I've gotten in reference to this, in reference to, well, Blake, I mean, you could have used these spring reps for DJ Chester to be at guard, and that's a good point, which does make me lead to the latter of what I said earlier, that being that DJ Chester might have just developed, and they're like, hey, man, listen, this kid was a top 50 guy. He went in as a freshman. He had his struggles, but this spring he's done well, and we think he's done the best at center. That's perfectly fine too. There's no real wrong answer here. Either you're moving him to guard, you'll see what happens. If he doesn't perform, you put someone else in. You gotta get the right unit in there. If he stays at center, you just say, well, maybe Braylon Moore didn't do what we thought he would do coming into the portal, and DJ Chester locked that position down. I do see it over and over again. I do see that it's becoming a storyline. Wanted to address it. For what it's worth, DJ has been at center. Braylon has been running with second team. I feel as if, and I talked about this last night, and I want to reemphasize this again. I do feel like a lot of these guys in a lot of these rotations mean absolutely nothing. The reason I know most of them mean absolutely nothing is because of this. The very first sentence this spring out of Brian Kelly's mouth was this. The very first one. Because I was in there sitting in the Lawton room. BK comes to the media and says, guys, what you're seeing out there from the rotation of things in spring don't mean a whole lot. What he was talking about is that, and this is kind of spring overall talk here, but what he was saying there is that you're going to see some guys that transferred in that are running with the second team. No, that doesn't mean anything. I'm telling you, it doesn't mean anything this spring. Guys, Barry and Brown, Nick Anderson, they're going to get first team reps. You better believe it. I promise you that it's going to happen. Not happening right now. They're putting in Xavier Thomas. And I think with a lot of this, whether it be the offensive line and why DJ hasn't moved yet, and Xavier Thomas, because they're not trying to make these massive situations with guys coming in from the portal and instantly taking positions. What they are trying to do here is very simple and trying to limit the amount of guys that transfer during the spring. That's why you've seen some of these situations where we're like, why is Cohen Eccles at right guard? Why is Bo Borderline at right guard? Josh Thompson's here. Why don't we move him to guard and see what happens? I don't think that they want a mass exodus. That's what I think. They don't want a mass exodus. So in that, good on them. It's their decision. They have to make it. But I had seen that being a storyline. Look, very quickly, some big key points. One thing that we also have not talked about this spring is special teams. It's the first thing that LSU does when they come out into practice. The first thing that they do is go to field goal and field goal block. First thing that they do. Let's mention this. We have not seen enough on special teams for LSU this spring. We've seen some field goal attempts. We've seen Damian Ramos. We've seen Aaron Burrell. We even see it in the first part of practice when they're kicking, like Aaron Burrell made a 50-yarder and a 55-yarder last week, and he made another 50-yarder again today. One thing that I want to point out with special teams, that because of everything else going on, we miss. LSU went out and hired an analyst this year named Ahmad Anand. He was at Grambling, and then before Grambling, he was at Baylor, and before Baylor, he was at Penn State. And in that, he led Penn State to a top 1 unit. He led Grambling to another top number 1 unit. Charleston State, he led them to a number 1 unit. Top 10 unit at Baylor for special teams. The reason I bring up Ahmad Anand, the analyst that you brought in from Grambling, guys, for the first time in the Brian Kelly era, this is the first time that I remember outside of Brian Polian, which don't let that freak you out, because I think Ahmad Anand has shown that he can be a really good coach for special teams. The last time that you had a guy that specifically was with special teams, and Brian Polian was not at special teams as much as Ahmad Anand has been, he's constantly with his kickers, deep snappers, and punters. Constantly. Guys, he ain't going over there to team or until after the kickers are done. He is legitimately coaching that position. You have an analyst, and now in the role where analysts can be coaches on the field, he's constantly working with them on technique. I would rather that happen because Damian Ramos had some issues last year, and you need that from a special teams in and of itself by itself. Slade Nagel last year, guys, he was coaching tight ends and helping Joe Sloan call plays. Let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is now. He didn't give two Rudy Poos about special teams because the entire coaching staff coaches special teams, and it's why, quite frankly, in the kicking game, you didn't have the best overall unit. Now, you returned a couple of kicks because you have some electric players back there, but Ahmad Anand from Grambling, the analyst, is proving to be a pretty big hire. Very big hire. So I like seeing that. Look, something that's also caught my eye today, Trey'Dez Green and Bauer Sharp working with Alex Atkins on blocking. Blake, of course, they're going through technical work. Guys, you have an offensive line coach teaching freakish tight ends how to block. It can't do anything but help. Slade Nagel's not a tight ends guy. I like it because you need every bit of help you can get in the running game. And I think that stood out to me. Last but not least, look, man, I guess in these individual drills, look, there's not a lot that you can really take from all of that. I've told you that before, but just some things, if we're going to be out there, that stand out. Wide receiver competition is really ramped up. Look, say what you will about Cortez Hankton. I think his position group, they show a lot of competitiveness. It's all you can ask for. Okay, let's get to this. So I talked to you about the practice just now, but now that spring football is starting to wrap up here, I want to go through some of the players who were my biggest winners this spring. I'm not going to do biggest losers or anything like that, but the people that, and I say biggest winners as this, the people that stood out to me the most this spring. Who are the 5 guys that stood out to me the most? Let's go through some of them. Some of the highest risers that I think, and even maybe storylines going into August, and something that we will talk about all offseason here when it comes to this football team in 2025. Here are the top 5 players that took the biggest leaps for me and stood out the most. Let's go to this entire position group, specifically talking about 3 players. You know where I'm starting off with this. It's edge. Guys, Gabe Relaford is the overall winner for me this spring. Gabe has shown that he can be physical at the point of attack. He's shown me some really good things in the running game, especially in team periods where he's making stops in the running game, being very violent on the edge, and quite frankly has caused problems and has caused issues for Garrett Nussmeier in the passing game. 2 weeks ago, they go on the first team period. And the first play, we said that it was a fade route to Chris Hilton that was incomplete. In the practice notes, if you remember, Weston Davis and Gabe Relaford are going one-on-one. Gabe Relaford hits him with a dip and rip. He gets the outside, and quite frankly, Nuss should have been sacked. He has done, and it has been in every practice for me, the number one person that I feel as if that stood out the most. I think that the reason that he stood out the most is not necessarily for every single little thing that he's done right. The reason that I think that Gabe Relaford has stood out the most to me is because you brought in 3 edge players. Butler, and I say edge as I think Butler can play more of the 3-tech, 5-tech, regardless. Jack Pyburn and Patrick Payton. You went out there and, let's just call it what it is, spent the money and did what you needed to do for 3 of those guys. And two things happened in that situation. Number one, you got extremely talented depth. But number two, you pushed a kid who was a freshman last year and now is a sophomore, and he's putting his hands up saying, listen now, thank you for inviting these guys in, but I'm going to be in this rotation whether you like it or not because my play is going to dictate it. That is what has happened with Gabe Rutherford. The second thing would be is that we're just seeing the maturity of a top 50 player from year one to year two. If we're looking at the top player that has stood out the most to me, that would be my spring winner, it would be Gabe Rutherford. Number two. Or let me back up. Number two at edge, Jack Pyburn and Patrick Payton. Guys, I think the level of concern for Patrick Payton with me was that the entire narrative coming out of Florida State for Patrick Payton was he doesn't have a high motor. Well, it seemed like he had a high motor when you went undefeated in the regular season. It was when his entire team crumbled and you were 2-10 and nobody was giving effort and he knew he was going to go in the portal that, look, man, it's a 2-10 season. And Mike Norvell couldn't reel anything in. The only thing that I have seen this spring has been Patrick Payton giving effort. And when I see that, and I see him giving a lot of effort, I see him in the red zone running down a running back from the opposite side. He's lined up on the right side of the offense at edge. There's an outside zone to Caden Durham, and he just comes crashing down and he makes the tackle from behind in the red zone. The ball was at the 5-yard line, by the way, when that happened. If it's an effort thing, if it's something that it was my biggest concern, because he's got the talent, man. Because we've seen Patrick Payton do it against anybody and everybody that they've played. He did it against SEC schools. He's done it in the ACC. Quite frankly, he was a big part of what helped Florida State run that season. He's been really impressive to me. Jack Pyburn, look, man, physical dude. I've said it. If I've said it once, I've said it a billion times. I do not believe that. Well, it's not that I don't believe. I don't know, because I do believe he can do this. I don't know if I misspoke. Sorry. I don't know if Jack Pyburn will ever have a sack at LSU. One thing that I do know is he sets the tone. And he brings a level of physicality that guys at that position, Braden Swinson or not, you have not had in the running game. It's not an opinion. Guys, like there are opinions that we have out here, right? Like opinions in reference to, no, this guy's better. No, that guy's better. Okay, cool, whatever. The outright true fact, there is no way in hell that you can convince me that Jack Pyburn has not been your most physical edge. And quite frankly, it maybe since BJ Ojulari, but BJ is not as physical as Jack Pyburn, excuse me. And that's not a knock on either one or a positive for the other. He is a tone-setting human being. That whole group has been very impressive to me. But Gabe Rutherford's my big winner, but that one for sure. Another winner for me this spring has been Trey'Dez Green. When I think about Trey'Dez Green, this is my outright thought what I put in my notes. We all know the biggest mismatch on the field. The entire time he is the biggest mismatch on the field. He's made exceptional catches in the red zone. ... He's made exceptional catches every time he's touched the football. QBs have to understand that when they're throwing him the ball in the red zone, that he can go make the freakish play. That you got to throw the ball up to him because he can go up and make the freakish play. Guys, he's virtually been unguardable. Really. I mean, the linebacking room, the safety room have struggled. You know, they did a mic'd up with Trey'Dez Green today. And Deshaun Spears winds up getting a PBU in the end zone. Well, if the ball's thrown up a little bit more, it's a touchdown, and it's for 6. Or he's hitting a seam route on West Weeks, or he's hitting a seam route on Tamarcus Cooley, or he's hitting an in route on Mansour Delane. or he's hitting an in route on DJ Pickett. All things that have happened in the video that was posted today. He is an outright freak. He is an outright freak of nature. Because you bring in Bauer Sharp, and I do think that you will utilize Bauer Sharp in multiple situations. There is not, from a physical standpoint, in certain situations, a bigger mismatch than a 6'7", 6'8" tight end who runs the way that he does. Guys, he did that against Baylor. He can do that against everybody. Trey'Dez Green, to me, it is of my opinion that he has the level and capability that, guys, he has the chance. Might not get that chance. I don't want to put this on him like that, but he has the chance to be a guy that you look up in 15, 20 years, and he's wearing a gold jacket. I fully believe that. I know that's high praise. I don't like doing that kind of stuff. I feel like that he has that level of athleticism. If he puts it all together and your quarterback gets him the football in the red zone, guys, he could be a double-digit touchdown guy. He 100% could be a double-digit touchdown guy. He is a freakish matchup. You should have utilized him more last year in the red zone. I would target him every time that you get down there. You get into second down, I'm finding the best play for Trey'Dez Green, or I'm using him as a dummy, lining him out wide, letting him run a fade route, and let everybody take care of that. Run something underneath that, because the safety's got to take care of Trey'Dez Green along with the corner, that you utilize him. He is the biggest mismatch. There's not been anything that he's done from a receiving standpoint that I don't think that he hasn't shined at the highest level. At the end line of scrimmage, I think he's had some issues. That's something that we needed to address. I do think Bauer Sharp at the current moment, even though it's Bauer Sharp, has given you some better reps on the end line of scrimmage. Trey'Dez has got to continue to work and build on him playing tight end. Guys, he gave up basketball. He is a freakish Hall of Famer football player. I'm glad he gave up basketball. Really and truthfully, I think it's the best nature of it for him. I think he did make the right decision. He is a freak. He is a freak. So he was my number 2 winner. Number 3, Weston Davis. This one didn't come without his problems in the beginning of camp. Weston Davis, on day 1 of spring football, without trying to be rude, he did not have a great day. Day 2, did not have a great day. Day 3, okay. 2-minute warning. Patrick Payton's on you, and you stop him all 4 times that you had the football. You made the play. Then it happened again. Man, you had Gabe Relaford, a sophomore, on a redshirted freshman, 2 guys that came in the same class, and Gabe got a sack on him. Didn't happen again. I'm interested to see what happens with Weston Davis. I put him in my biggest winners of spring football. I put it with an asterisk. I think he started off spring football, and it was rough on him. The reason I highlight him here is because I think he finished damn strong. Now, we have not played a game yet. We haven't even – the guys are going to play a half, right? They're going to play a half of football, and I'm assuming they'll go to some situational drills in the second half. More practice style of stuff. But I hope that Weston Davis continues to show, for me, something that I'm looking out for. I hope that Weston Davis shows that from day 1 as a starter till now, well, he's done some good things. I think he's developed. I've seen development from him. I've seen him be better. I've seen him be more physical, which I thought was a big concern going into day 1. Every day I feel like Weston Davis, number 75, is getting better. And that's a very good sign. Want to see it again in August. Want to see it again on Saturday. Want to see that continue to take heap. But I put it with an asterisk because if you have a bad performance on Saturday, if you start having bad performances again in August, okay, well, I guess we'll see. You know, I talked about Gabe Rutherford earlier in this segment. I talked about Gabe Rutherford and you bringing in 2 edge players and 3 edge players, and it feels as if that his elevation of play went up. I feel like when Josh Thompson, the time that Weston Davis started to get better was the time that Northwestern transfer Josh Thompson came in, who was at right tackle. And they put him at right tackle. Boy, Weston Davis's play got a lot better. Got a lot better. Again, put it with an asterisk. But I like the development and I just like the development. I like seeing the development there. Okay. Number 4, Michael Turner and DJ Pickett. Guys, I've seen 2 young corners, redshirt and true freshman corners, that have constantly made some big plays here. I have no earthly idea. I have no clue if Michael Turner will give you any reps this year. What I have seen from Michael Turner is an interception on Michael Van Buren, an interception a PBU against Garrett Nussmeier, and a stop in the running game, which he was there as the second guy to make a stop. But all 3 of those, one was in the red zone when he had the PBU. The interception was against Barry and Brown on a fade route in 2-minute warning that Michael Van Buren threw, which I thought was a good play by Michael Van Buren, but I thought he made the wrong read. It was a good throw, bad read. He picks the ball off and rips it away from Barry and Brown, who's a senior and experienced in the SEC. Guys, I mean, think about this. Barry and Brown made the play against Ole Miss last year for them to win the game. It's not like that he hasn't been in that situation before. It's an impressive play by Michael Turner. I still feel like Michael Turner's got to put on some weight. Michael's got to put on at least 20 pounds. At minimum 10, best case scenario is that he puts on 15 pounds. He gets up to 6'1", 6'2", 170 pounds, because he's around 6'1", I think, right now. He can't sit there at 155. He just cannot. He can go out there and cover. He's got electric speed. Guys, if you go to like the EA Sports, the college football game, his speed's at 99 and he's at receiver. He's got elite speed. He's got serious track speed. But he's been making some plays. I like seeing that development. I like seeing him out there making plays. And guys, we got to be better at corner. Blake Baker is going to send heat. You're going to be in man-to-man coverage. You got to find guys that can go out there and make plays. Because if you don't, God help us, it's going to be bad. But here's been a massive storyline, as it should have been. I think DJ Pickett has been really good. You know, what's funny is there's a group of guys that are massive LSU fans that I'm in a text thread with. And in that text thread, during the bowl game, I told them and sent them a message. All massive NIL contributing, love LSU to death, Tiger fans. In that, I told them, look, the bowl game for DJ didn't go. The bowl game practice reps did not go great for DJ Pickett. I literally started off by saying, don't panic. His first day of practice, he got welcomed to college football. It's to be expected. In that text thread, and I might have even said it on here, kid showed, though, the athleticism that you see that he could do some things that are special. Because DJ's made plays that I feel like, I'm like, okay, that all of this makes sense now. Whether it be a post on Chris Hilton, whether it be a post on Barry and Brown, whether it be a hitch route, whether it be an in route, he's made good plays all over the place. Don't know if he's mentally ready as a freshman, which no, I don't think hardly any freshmen are mentally ready. But I don't know if he's ready mentally. I don't know if he starts against Clemson. I don't know any of those things. What I do know is that as the season goes on, and even in that Clemson game, they will find a way to get him reps. He will be on the field. Right now through spring, it's a passing grade for me, quote unquote, And the passing grade is, okay, I get it. Seeing him up close, seeing him up personal, okay, I get it. I 1,000% get it. I love seeing young corners and young DBs making plays. Ashton Stamps, Mansour Delane. I'll even throw Mansour Delane in there. PJ Woodland, which is the same year as Michael Turner, but PJ Woodland, like, hey, man, you played a lot last year. You played a lot. Look, man, you're not settled there because there's no starting corner right now. I was asked a question this week in the show. Blake, who's corner one? I have no clue. Mansour Delane. That after that, I have no clue, and I have no idea what the rotation would be. And quite frankly, when they have gone to nickel, Mansour Delane has played in the slot. Star position comes out, he goes to the slot, and you're bringing two new corners in. Now it's been Jakeem Jackson and Ashton Stamps, but not every time. It's been Jackson and DJ Pickett. It's been Michael Turner and Mansour Delane and Jakeem Jackson. They've rotated that position out like hot pockets in a midsummer day. Rotating them pizza rolls in and out. But they sizzling that corner room. They've done some really good things, man. They have won, regardless of what happens on Saturday. Regardless. I don't care if Garrett Nussmeier and this receiving core has 6 receiving touchdowns. Maybe that's egregious. But I really don't – my opinion – I don't know if my opinion right now could be moved. They might have a bad day, and maybe it can be slightly moved. But I'm not anticipating that happening. So we'll see. Hopefully they can go out and show us some really good things. Number 4, Shedeur Mitchell. Hadn't seen him much running with the ones, except what it's been in individual drills or team or position drills where the O-line and D-line are going up against each other. Now, he's come in some situations with the first team when it's dictated it, but in passing downs, he hasn't been there. So when they go 2-minute warning, he's not in there. But when they go in the running game, early down situations, Shedeur Mitchell has been really the DT1. Guys, the story that came out with him this week about him getting carted off, he didn't get carted off. I called some people today and was like, did he get carted off? There's a report out there he got carted off. No. Well, of course he didn't. Again, so aggravating that we got to take time out of our own day to figure out if a story that everybody keeps sending you is true or false. And this one was false. He came back to practice on Tuesday, didn't go back in, but he came back, and he was out there again at practice today. Good on it. God bless America. But if we're talking about on-field football stuff, Shedeur Mitchell has definitely been a standout and a winner for me. Has not been moved in the running game. Y'all saw the reps. Guys, you get footage, and you've gotten footage that's all over the place that you can see exactly what we're talking about. Like I had a discussion and a debate when I said, look, man, Shedeur Mitchell hadn't gotten moved all camp. And I had people in the chat saying, yeah, number 94. Blake said that Shedeur Mitchell was out there getting moved. Number 94 got pancaked. Well, first off, here's the thing. He's not number 94. He's not number 94. He's 99. And if you want me to send you any link, maybe he gets moved once. We've talked about some individualized one-time situations where that's happened. I promise you, 99 hasn't gotten moved. It hadn't happened. Today he wins the rep, and everybody's like, oh, well, no, he doesn't win the rep. No, he won the rep. He's got the shoulder pad of the center. The guard can't get off to the second level, and Kyle Williams freaks out in the video, and he's like, hell yeah, hell yeah. And they're like, why is Kyle freaking out? Because he's taking on the blocks, and he's not allowing the center or the guard to get to the second level. He's stuffing the run. That's why. So you want to know why Kyle Williams, and there's a video out there of Kyle Williams losing his shit today. He's losing his shit because he knows exactly what Shedeur Mitchell needed to do. He's losing his shit because he won the rep. Guys, the video's out there. Let's go and talk about it. Let's post it up in here. He's been a winner. You're going to have to take him out on passing down situations. Y'all know that. I know that. Everybody knows that. But in these early down situations, 99's got to be ready. I've said this. We'll say it all off season while the spring, or at least through the spring portal period. I still think you need a DT. This kid has been the best so far this spring, without a doubt, at being a guy that helps you stop the run. No other DT outside of Ahmad Bro in some situations. To me, it's been Shedeur Mitchell that has won that position room and position group. He's won it. Dominic McKinley has had some really good plays. Team period a couple of times. He made some tackles for loss. Some other times he got blown off the football, and Caden Durham got a good run. Need some consistency out of Dom McKinley. Shedeur Mitchell has been a big winner for me. All right. Last but not least, Blake's going to be a homer on this one. Blake's a homer. Guys, it's Chris Hilton. I don't need my notes for this one. Guys, if healthy, I know what we will say. Let's just get to it. If healthy, Chris Hilton, like he showed you at the end of the year, guys, Oklahoma defensively doesn't suck. Their secondary doesn't suck. They're going to have 3 guys that get drafted in their secondary this year. They didn't suck. They had really good safeties. They had a really good corner that will probably get drafted in the 3rd round. Guys, when Chris Hilton's healthy, he's one of the most dangerous wide receivers in the SEC. He is. He's a winner for me because he showed up every day. I do think that he can push to be your number 1. Fully believe that. Fully believe it. Problem is I also put that one with an asterisk. The reason I put it with an asterisk is as much as I love Chris Hilton, he's been hurt too much. Don't know if I can rely him going into the season fully healthy. I don't. I pray to God that he does. I pray to God that he is. I do pray that God gives Chris Hilton the ability to show everything that he's got. I do. Guys, here is a truth, and I will take heat from this. And please ask anybody that's around that goes to it, please. I don't mean this in a wrong or negative way, but it's happened. I've been there and saw it with my own eyes. Chris Hilton has beaten numerous DBs and corners on your team a lot. A lot of it has been on fade routes. You have not completed enough of them. You haven't. Brian Kelly came out and said this as much. So if you do not want to believe me, please go to mid-spring Brian Kelly press conference when the second thing that he brings up is that he says this in a press conference, which I hope nobody missed. He says, I hope that Chris Hilton and Nick Anderson and Barian Brown and Aaron Anderson and Xavier Thomas, damn near the same order. I hope they're all working on building chemistry during the offseason. Why did Brian Kelly bring that up? We started off a show talking about that exact thing from Brian Kelly. You know why he brought it up? Chris Hilton he beat Mansour Delane, he beat Jakeem Jackson, and he beat DJ Pickett on a fade route. It happened. Did not get connected. He had a step on every one of the receivers, and the ball was thrown out of bounds. Michael Van Buren has done it. Garrett Nussmeier has done it. They got to find that chemistry, and they got to find it now. The thing of why he's a winner is he's always open. He's always open. They haven't connected on it. They haven't. They haven't. They have done it sometimes. There have been a pair of times where the ball is thrown accurately, and Chris Hilton has a step on every DB that is on your team, and he scored a touchdown. I can think of 3. I can think of 7 times where it was incomplete. That chemistry and connection has got to be better. It has got to be better. Coming out of spring, for me right now, and we're actually going to post this segment next week. So if you've watched it, I'm sorry. But we're going to post all the things that we just talked about. We'll post a lot of stuff after Saturday. For me, right now, the Thursday before the game, through all of the practices, that has been the winners for me. That has been the biggest thing in players that have caught my eye. Now, we have 3 more practice, a game and 2 more practices to go. I don't know how much more of my opinion will be changed, if any. What I do know is that you have some talent and you have some positions that I think that you might lack it. There have been a lot of players that have stood out to me. A lot. Got to hit connect on some of those things. We'll see if they do. All right. We had a couple of super chats in here I saw. Jackie Harris with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Jackie. I greatly appreciate it. Says portal needs, I want 2 DTs, 2 safeties, 1 bruising running back, one interior offensive lineman, and 1 O tackle. What am I missing? A partridge and a pear tree. As I was doing that countdown. That, bro, did I literally say a partridge and a pear tree? Oh my God, I'm an idiot. Jackie, I don't know if they get 2 safeties or 2 DTs. I don't know if I think they could get 1 of each. That's what I mean there. I don't know if they go get a bruising running back, especially if Caleb Jackson stays. I do think they need an interior offensive lineman, and I do think they need an interior offensive tackle. With that said, I don't know of any other position that that you're missing there. I think that you could go for 1 apiece across the entire board, call it a day, call it even. I mean, I don't know who yet, but I do expect you to have some departures. I really do. All right. Alexander, let's get to some comments here before we roll out. Alexander Taylor says, Nuss got to get in the lab this summer. I haven't heard any Aaron Anderson much this spring. They haven't gotten him involved. I think they've been trying. They know what they have in Aaron Anderson. Now they've thrown him the ball some, not as much as that you would throw to a potential number 1 wide receiver. They hadn't thrown enough to Aaron. They didn't throw enough to Aaron last year. Guys, Aaron Anderson was your number 1 receiver a year ago. Wasn't Kyron Lacy. It was not Kyron Lacy. Haven't been put him in situations. The one situation that I remember him being in was the red zone. They ran a corner route, which why they ran a corner from the 5-yard line, they let him run a corner route. Makes no sense to me. They threw a jump ball on a corner inside fade, slight inside fade to Aaron Anderson. They threw a fade route, basically, or a corner route, and a jump ball situation to a dude that's 5'7". It's practice. I get it, but, I mean, doesn't benefit him. He's had some really good catches. He's had some really good plays. I don't think – here's the thing I'd say about Aaron Anderson. There's nothing that he's shown me that would tell me that he's digressed. How about that? Nothing I've seen that's like he's not dropping the ball. He's still running really good routes. There's nothing that says like, oh, man, I mean, he was really good last offseason, and then look at him now. They were throwing him the ball a lot last offseason, though. A lot. Holden Lee says, what about Josh Thompson? Doesn't seem like Weston Davis is giving up the spot. Let me go there first. Let me say this, guys, to any no transfer portal guy, like I'm trying to think, outside of Patrick Payton, nobody has no transfers rotated with the ones really. No one. In reference to Weston Davis, I mean, he's been a top riser for me. I don't think Josh Thompson's a tackle. I think he's a guard. Because he started 14 games at guard last year. The first position group of O-line that I want to see come fall is from left to right, Tyree Adams, DJ Chester, Braylon Moore, Josh Thompson, and then Weston Davis. That's the five that I want to see run out there. Because once nobody can go in the portal, stop hurting people. You shouldn't be worried about people's feelings now. And I understand the portal aspect of it. F that. I'm not, none of that's happened. I think he's a guard. He's not a tackle. Guys, Emory Jones was an athletic guard that they forced to play tackle. Guys, both of your tackles, people think that they're going to move to guard. Guys, some of these dudes don't have bias on this. Some of them just believe what they believe. Brandon Reese says the weapons are there to be one of the better offenses in college football this upcoming season. I agree with that. David says, why does nobody talk about Jacoby and Guillory? Because he hasn't been there, David. I mean, I remember, David, that like you said some things to me about you are always negative on us. Well, I mean, you asked me now about Jacoby and Guillory, and he hadn't been there. He tore his Achilles. He just came back yesterday. And we talked about Jacoby and Guillory like all day yesterday. At least I did. Face on YouTube says Mansour Delane. Mansour's look good. Yeah, he's looked really good. But again, they've limited his rep with the ones. Mansour, to me, I kind of feel like it's kind of a written up thing. Now, could you say he's been running with the ones? Yes. I mean, but they've rotated him out in so many different situations, and he's run with the twos. I mean, he would be the only other one that I could think running with the ones. So, yeah, to that point, you may be right. You know who did not make my list that I wanted it, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have put on my list would be Tyree Adams. And that's probably on me. Probably should go back and we don't talk about Tyree Adams enough. That's my fault. That is my fault. All right. Guys, that segment was brought to you by our good friends over at Service Hawk Digital Media. We were there today, and we did a LSU Auburn preview. So go over to our YouTube channel. If maybe you already are on your YouTube channel, you still want to talk some LSU stuff. We did bring up LSU Auburn this weekend. We did it from our good friends studio over at Service Hawk Digital Media. Guys, do you need the right leads with smart systems for real growth? You need to get a marketing system that works for you. I was talking to Lee today. Man, they do such a fantastic job at every single little thing that they do. From marketing your business, marketing your sales business, HVAC, electrical pros, generator pros, guys, they do it all. They will be the right fit for you if you run a business or own a business. Get in touch with Service Hawk Digital Media today. All right. We're out of here. Listen, we will be doing the post games Friday and Saturday. Tomorrow and Saturday. Sunday, we will be posting starting Sunday, we'll post some recorded stuff that has not been out there to date. We will not be officially live next week until next Friday. So just a little programming note. We will publish new content, and new content will be out there. However, we are going to the beach, the family and I, on Sunday. So I need you all to do me a favor while we're at the beach. When this new content is being out there, just help your boy out and press the like and share. Send it to your buddies. It'd really go a long way. Really go a long way. Last one, John says, just getting home from the festival, missed the whole show. Well, rewind that thing, John. Rewind that thing. Go play it again. Till then, we'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Y'all, good night. Peace.